I hope you turn those channels off. It was the fear came in March, April.
There's no fear here.
In May of 2020 about the meat packing plants, and you won't be able to get.
Represents the below.
Well, yeah. Well, that doesn't mean that some of those stories weren't real, but that's if you are a gigantic evil cabal that is in some way seeing to what's going on now, of course you're going to have fear stories. You probably will close a meat packing plant and hope that 1 million people start talking about it. So fear propagates certain communities. So that negative, slimy resonance and energy then can flow back out into the ether so they can vampirically suck from it.
Ooh,
so the idea is maybe there was a meat packing plant that closed, but as a truther making videos on a certain channel, are you going to push that, or are you going to step back and say, yeah, it's part of the plan? The whole thing is from the beginning.
Maybe he needs to know about the chess game.
Well, I'm not going to say what I said versus someone else, but this thing has been orchestrated from every aspect of it has been orchestrated. So if you're going to make a video about meatpacking plants closing, do you realize they want you making a video about that? So it puts thousands of people into fear, and then they run out and hoard and all that. So it doesn't mean if somebody made a video about that the damn plant didn't close. It's just that's a temporary thing, and they're gonna present shortages of toilet paper. They're gonna do these things. They're gonna play these games. Ultimately,
it's one game.
Ultimately, the fear level. There's a lot of reasons why it should be kept in check and way lower than it is with most people. So I think it starts here with Bootsy crying at me for food. I'll have to pause in a second. And of course, see to her every need. It starts with this. Bootsy, please. You can't hear it, guys, but it's extremely annoying. It starts with this.
I hear it.
At this point, we should just be ready for anything.
I'm gonna parachute out.
Well, Matt, is another shoe gonna drop on this thing? Yeah, probably.
Definitely.
So what? If you're ready for anything, then nothing will faze you, and nothing will faze you. That goes along with the notion of backing up far enough and looking down and seeing what this reality truly is. And I mean, nothing should faze us for most of the old guard for what we've been through. And I'm going to present a ridiculous example, but I couldn't be more. This is the most important part of this video. Do you remember? Now this is a really spooky image when it's presented. It's funny. It's not fearful. But remember the end of Legend, the Tom Cruise movie Legend, which is really interesting and well done, but you have sword and sorcery and fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons stuff. One of the first Tom Cruise movies, Legend, about the fairies and the demons and the devil character at the end of Legend. Most of you have seen it. If you haven't seen it, just watch the last 20 minutes of Legend. The devil creature, it was a demon. It wasn't the devil at the end of Legend, because he says, Father! Well, he's calling out for Father. That thing was a lesser demon. But it's one of the all-time scariest spooky creatures ever presented in movie history.
That's the best.
And it's incredible for the year that was done, too. No CGI whatsoever. Anyway, if you look up at the moon one day, and that literally, a gigantic head of that thing peers around the side, then you should say, we expected something like this. Seriously, expect anything could happen. But if that thing literally peers around the moon one day and calls you by name, they're capable of this, or the reality itself. I kind of expected something like this. Am I going to be fearful? It's terrifying, but no, I'm not going to be fearful of it. It can only affect me in this reality, and the reality has become an absolute joke from top to bottom. Matt, if the devil creature from Legend peered around the moon and called you by name, you wouldn't be scared? Yeah, I'd be scared. But you know what I mean.
He'd respond.
If something happens,
he's prepared
in a big city, or
Philadelphia.
Okay. This is to be.
You.
This we all expected another shoe to drop. Okay.
5 minutes.
Every bit of it is orchestrated.